So this is the control plus. Usually managers don't have the right or authority to control every step. Next one is renewal. Renewal or divestment and system reanalysis stage. So in the renewal stage happens when the current system or strategy becomes outdated or no longer effective. The company reviews the system, removes parts that are no longer useful, and introduces new methods or technologies. Okay. This stage help the company stay competitive and adapt to change in the market. Okay. So if you monitor, okay, if you think that okay, the method you monitor, evaluate every month, every week, and then no improvement, so you need to renew the method or renew or change the system or change the method. Okay. For example, Nokia is is 20 years ago, 15 years ago. It's like the king of the phone, the king of every customer. Most likely they use Nokia. So Nokia went through the renewal stage when its own mobile phone system could not compete with smartphone. And the company sold the phone to Microsoft. This is kind of like my father was before had Nokia Microsoft. This is like the OS system, the operation system using Microsoft. But it's not really work. But the company, the Nokia, they sold the software to the Microsoft. So they try to work to cooperate. Later, Nokia shifted its focus to network technology and 5G development, allowing it to stay active and profitable in the new industry direction. We still have Nokia, but it's not, but only limited service up till now. Last one is motivation and direction, the implementation stage. So in this stage, management focus on putting the new system into action. So when you monitor and then maybe you need to renew or change, and then you start for you to put in action. So each part of the system has its own challenges and place in the plan. One of the helpful technique here is a critical path analysis. So this is today we learn about critical path analysis. Okay? Also known as network analysis or PERT, program evaluation and review technique. Okay, so one of the technique is of the to implement or to motivate to redirect the business is using critical path analysis. So what critical path analysis? We will talk about it later. Please pay attention because it's a little bit difficult and it's going to be some of the mathematics. Okay? The simple mathematics. Okay. So motivation in this stage about starting the system and getting everyone in the organization to work toward the same goals. Managers give clear instruction, assign tasks, and motivate employees to accept and support the new system. So usually, manager to give you motivation instruction. Of course, good communication and leadership are very, very important because people may resist change at first. The goal is to make sure the system is applied correctly and everyone understands their role in making it succeed. Okay? So this is the motivation and direction. For example, when Unilever launched its sustainable living plan, the company entered the motivation and direction stage. Managers train employees, set clear environment goals, and encourage them to support eco-friendly production and marketing. By giving direction and motivating, Unilever successfully implemented the plan across its global operation and improved its brand image as a sustainable company. I think that Unilever is very, very well known. You have a lot of product from shampoo or our daily needs, Unilever, and Unilever is well known all over the world. I think this most every country they have a Unilever. Not every country, but most of the country they have the headquarters. Okay. Now it's 9:31. Let's have first our attendance first. First we go to the IB student. If you're IB student, please prepare your phone. This is for IB student, okay? Please scan the QR code for IB student. This is for IB student. Okay, IB student, anyone cannot scan the QR code for IB student? This is for IB student. Anyone cannot scan the QR code for IB student? No? Okay. This is for IB student. If you're IB student and you cannot scan the QR code, please raise your hand. Oh, good? Good? Okay. So we are moving forward to SSM student. For SSM student, SSM student, please scan the QR code and then make sure that you scan successfully. Okay? SSM student cannot scan the QR code, please raise your hand. This is SSM student. Anyone cannot scan the QR code? SSM student. Anyone cannot scan the QR code? Please raise your hand. No? That's good? Okay. So continue first. So, we're going to talk about the critical path or critical path. So the goal is to find the most critical path. So critical path, the goal is to find the most efficient way to complete the work, to make sure that each task starts at the best time and is ready when needed. So why we need, if you ask why we need to critical path, because the reason is we would like to find the most efficient way to complete the work. So one day there is a question like why we need to do critical path. So the critical path is to find the most efficient way to complete the work. Of course, the critical path approach helps keeps the project on track and moving quickly toward completion along the critical path, along with critical path. So it will help keep the project on track and moving quickly towards. So we have when you set deadline, you can set deadline based on the critical path. Okay. In the critical path, there is three main components. So we are talking about critical path. There's three main components. The first one is events. The second one is activity. And the third one is duration, or we call it term. Okay. So what are the events? Event is like something that happened in a certain time. So event is the starting point, finishing point, or important milestone. Okay, for example, buying property, a friend arriving, or completing room decoration could be all event. Event is like just event, like any event. For example, we attend a class, we eat, we dance, we take a shower. So event is like activity, kind of like event is something like a starting point. Usually for starting point, like we, for example, we start our day. For example, we taking a bath. That is one. So usually event is like starting point or finishing point or important milestone or important things, yeah, that happen in the some time. Activity is a little bit different. Activity is small activity or small tasks that lead to an event. For example, in a day, your main event is go to campus. But if before you go to the campus, maybe you need to, for example, wake up and then change your clothes, shower maybe, or maybe ride a motorcycle. This one. So event is the starting point or important milestone. When activity is like these are the tasks that leads to an event. For example, once crate arrive, an event, it might start an activity like loading or unloading. So if there is a product come, maybe you need to unpack the product or arrange the product. Which leads to another event like a truck leaving or site store opening. So event is like the important activity, and then activity is like small task that leads to an event. Okay, for example, if my main activity today, for example, I need to go to campus. Okay, main activity or main event. My activity, small activity, for example, I wake up, change my clothes, for example, prepare. Well, duration, I think duration is easier to understand. Duration is the time it takes to complete an activity. For example, you wake up, need 10 minutes to collect your soul. If you just wake up like, you need to, okay, and then maybe you need to check phone, or maybe you need to collecting your soul, maybe 10 minutes, and then maybe you need go to the toilet or restroom, prepare maybe 15 minutes. So duration is the time needs to complete an activity. Okay, please make sure you understand this one, because if you do not understand this one, you cannot answer you cannot do the critical path. Okay, so there is an event, activities, and duration. So please make sure you understand. If you don't understand this one, you cannot make the diagram. Okay, events, activity, and duration. Okay, this is example of very basic example of critical path. For example, you would like to making an omelette. Omelette is like a egg poach, like a omelette, you know, omelette, right? From eggs. So if you would like to making an omelette, if you had to create a short recipe for making omelette, it would look like this. Okay. So if you would like to make omelette, for example, beat 2 eggs, crack 2 eggs, and you need to heat a pan, or maybe you need to add butter or oil a little bit when the pan already hot, and then you pour the beaten egg and cook for 5 minutes. Maybe some people put some salt. Okay. So this is the example of critical path. Just imagine that you would like to create an omelette. Okay. So based on the 3 points, remember there is a event, activity, and duration. Okay. So the critical or the event is blue one. So more important, and then the activity or the small task is the green one. Okay. So the blue one is the events or the most important activity. Well, the small activity represent with the green one. Okay. when you create omelette, first make an omelette. This is the starting point. Beat 2 eggs, and then maybe you season with salt. This is some activity. And then the next important task is heat oil in the pan. So you need to heat your pan. Okay. Well, you how do you say heat oil pan? Maybe you pour these two and then add vegetables. Okay. You finish, add vegetables. Need to cook. Wait for 5 minutes. You need to wait for 5 minutes, and while you wait, you need to add cheese maybe if you would like to add cheese. Okay. So this is sample. This is still simple. Still, please make sure that you understand. Okay. Later on, in the second hour is more complex. So please make sure pay attention because later on it's getting more complex. Okay. So there is a three main activities. There's an event, activities, and duration. Event is the most important activity. Activities is a small task that leads to the next event, and duration is how long you do the activity. Okay. Please make sure you understand. Okay. Now, when it involves to the number, it's getting difficult. Okay, so please pay attention. So everything when it involves number is getting difficult. Okay. Okay, so there is for example, there is an activity list. There is an activity A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, there is activity, and then there is a table. We call it predecessor. Predecessor is like a predecessor. Is like the previous activity. So predecessor means is the previous activity. For example, so heat oil in pan. So what is the predecessor? The predecessor is P2S. So predecessor is like the previous activity. Okay, predecessor is previous activity, and the last one is duration or time. Usually, this is we call it days. Like if there is an hour, there's hours, days. Okay, activity, predecessor, and duration. Okay, please make sure. So activity A and then activity B. Activity B, previous activity is activity A, and there is a activity C. The previous activity is activity A. Okay, please I will explain later. There is a 3 column. Just pay attention. There's 3 column. Okay, step by step to make critical part. In order to make critical part, I really suggest you create this 6 table first. That is ES, ACT, EF, LS, duration, and LM. Okay, so there is a 6 table here. What are they? ES. ES is early start. Please keep in mind, okay? ES is early start. LS is late start. ACT is activity. DUR is duration. EF is early finish, and LF is late finish. Okay, so please, to make critical part, you need to understand these 6 elements: early start, and then early finish, late start, and late finish. In the middle, there is an activity and duration. Okay, please digest first. I hope that you can pay attention so you can do the class activity later on. There is an ES, LS, ACT, duration, EF, and LF. Okay. Now, you can write down or try to take a picture or something. Okay, now, based on the table, we need to transform this table into diagram like this one. Okay, so how to transform this table into this diagram. Okay? You need to understand the table first. The create diagram is the most important thing. If you wrong make the diagram and then it's wrong, you cannot do the calculation. So you need the very important thing is you need to be able to translate this table into this diagram. Okay, let's read the diagram. First, the first activity is activity A. Okay. The first activity is activity A. So you need to write down the A here. Okay. And then the second activity is activity B. Okay. So you need to write the activity B here. Okay. Activity B before previously is activity A. So there is a arrow here. Okay. Till now. So I will try my best to slowly explain. Okay. Activity A, there is activity A, and then there is activity B. Okay. When there is activity, you see in here, activity B previously is activity A, so there is an error. Next one, there is activity C. Okay, you need to write activity C, and then you need to read activity C previously is activity A. So you need to give this how do you say arrow? There's an A, B, and C. Continue. A, B, C, we finish. And then there is the activity D. Okay. Activity B, you see here, you need to write activity D. Okay. Previously, activity D is activity B. Okay. Previously or before activity D is activity B. Before activity D is activity B. So you cannot give arrow here, no, it's wrong. Or you cannot give arrow from here, no, it's wrong. Because previously activity D is activity B, so keep the arrow from B to D, okay? Now, any question? So you need to read the table. Next one, there is activity called activity E. In the table, they say that activity E previously or before is activity C. So, you need to give an arrow from C to E. You cannot give arrow to from this one. No, this is wrong. Okay? You cannot give arrow like this one. This is wrong. So, C goes to E. Why? Why C goes to E? Because you need to read the table. So activity E previously or before is activity C. Okay. Now, moving forward, there is activity F. Activity F previously or before is activity C. So here, activity F before is activity C, maybe copy here. So we need to put arrow like this one. Okay. Why the arrow from C to F? Because you see the table. There is a activity F previously is activity C. Okay. Moving forward, there is activity G. Activity G before activity is activity D and E. Okay, so G previously done by D and E. So previously G coming from D and E. Okay, so it's G. Last one, there is activity H. Activity H before previously done by activity F and G. So there is activity F, the H. Before activity is activity G and F. Okay, like this one. Okay, so please understand first. If you cannot make the diagram, you cannot do the next step. Okay. Give you time. have to understand this one. If you cannot understand this one, if you probably create the diagram, you cannot go to the next step. Okay. Now, any question here? So, in order to create diagram, you need to read the table. Now it's getting more difficult, so you need to pay attention. Otherwise, you cannot do and then it's gonna be on the exam. So it's better you pay attention. So based on this diagram, you need to make the 6 square like this one, like what I say. This one. S, L, S, and duration, EF, and LF. Okay. So every number here, you need to create six step, how do you say, square. The square consists of ES, activity, EF, LS, duration, and LF. If you don't know what is this one, go back to the previous slide. This one. ES, early state, activity, EF, LS is let's start, duration, and let's finish. Early start, early finish, let's start, let's finish, activity, and duration. Okay? Okay, we come back here. So every A, B, C, D, you need to create a 6 square. Okay? So the easier way is you need to fill the activity and duration. The first step, you need to fill these 2 middle square. Okay. For example, the name of this one is activity A, right? Activity A. Activity A. You write down here activity A. How long activity A? How long activity A is 3 days. So you need to write 3 days in the second square. Okay. Second one is activity B. So you need to write here 3 column. Activity B. How long activity B is 4 days. So you need to write 4 here. Next one, there is an activity C. Okay, so the name is activity C. How long activity C is 2. Okay. Next one is D. Well, the name of the activity is D. How much is the duration is 5 days. The name of the activity is activity D. The duration is 5. So if you notice, if you ask me, teacher, what is the 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 3? You need to come back to this table. So this is the number of duration. Continue. Activity E. The name of the activity is activity E. How long? 1 day. Next one. Activity. The name of the activity is activity F. How long? 2 days. Next one. The name of the activity is activity G. How long is 4 days. And the last one is activity H. How long the duration is 3 days. Okay. So 3, 4, 5, 2, 1, 2, 4, 3 is come from the table. This table. Activity and duration. Okay. Up till now, any questions on this one first? Any question? Please digest first and we can take a break for 10 minutes and then we come back later on. Okay? Let's go to the restroom.